Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna. For those of you who are new here, welcome. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. In today's video, I'll be using some happy mail I received from my friend Poet, and if that is of interest to you, please stay tuned. Alright guys, for Christmas, my friend Poet absolutely surprised me with a 160 count of Flowood pencils. They are her favorite pencils, and I was absolutely surprised. It actually came on a day I was not feeling well. I have actually tested these in several books, and I have found that I really like them in Rita Berman books, and I also like them in Joanna Basford books. Now, I actually haven't used it in this. This is the British version of the Ivy and Inky, which is published by Virgin, so I don't know if it's the same paper, but we're going to use it in here because I found a small picture to use it on. And let me show you the pencils. Now, I did put them in this case because it is 160. There are a lot of pencils, and they don't work for me out of the case or out of the box it came with. I already got rid of it, so I can't show you. Now, these pencils do come numbered, but I actually took them out of order. I put them more in color family order than numerical order, and that's because there were some outliers with pencils that didn't seem to line up for me. And because there's no name on there, the only thing that you have to go on is the numbers. And so I just put them like this. Again, they're not strictly from lights to darks. I don't need them to be. I just need them to be in a similar color family. And so I've got them all here. They are a harder pencil, so they're certainly harder than a Brett Funner, but they seem to be a little bit waxier than like a Polychromos, but they're definitely a harder pencil. So there are certain books that I just don't like it in, but I was pleasantly surprised how I liked it in Rita, and I like it even more in Joanna Basford, the one that, and I can show you at the end of the video what I'm working on. I thought it just laid down beautifully, and it didn't hurt my hands. For me, it's less about the pigment or the color payoff or even the color range and how much I need to fight with the pencil or layer the pencil or blend the pencil in order to get the color that I want, but that won't hurt my hands. And if you guys have been here for a while, you know that's a thing. The picture we're going to be working on is this one right here, something really small. So let's just pick some purples and some greens and some pinks. Because my desk is so small, I can't have this open while I'm coloring. So I normally just do this, just pick some random colors and hope for the best. And greens. I don't have a plan, which can be a good or a bad thing, depending on the results, I suppose. And that's enough colors to show you. Although, let's get one more light one. I think we can add some brightness with some yellow. Now, if you're wondering if I swatch these pencils out, I don't do that. So no, I don't swatch them. So I'm just essentially relying on the barrel color as well as the pencil tip and going from there. Okay, so I do like these pencils. Now, I'd say that my Brett Funners are still one of my top favorites, certainly my top favorite of the budget. But where I find these are quite awesome is that because they are such a hard pencil, they do keep their point longer. Now, this is one of the few sets that I have sharpened all of the pencils before I even used it. I'm not sure what's going on with the lighting. I keep seeing shadowing. Well, even more so than that. So I'm sorry for that. And the only reason I sharpen them, sorry, went off on a little tangent there, is it was one of my prompts for Sarah's Coloropoly that I had to sharpen my pencils. Now I know that Sarah and Darren, aka Mr. and Mrs. Claus, would not mean all of my pencils, and because there are 160 of them, I figured, well, that's enough pain. I don't sharpen my pencils generally until I use them. And literally, if I'm using that color. So if there's some colors I don't naturally gravitate towards, they may never get sharpened. Okay, so that's a nice wash down. That was sort of medium to heavy pressure. Let's see about adding just some interest. And because I know there's going to be a lot of greens on that page, that's why I'm adding some green here. These necessarily don't need to be green. And while I don't have a plan to tie the book by one color theme, I do like to have the 2-page spreads kind of work with each other. I'm not going to write down these colors because there's going to be so much green going on in that page there that it won't matter what this is. And if it looks like I'm being messy, I am purposefully. Just because I will be adding some colors. And I don't swatch, so I don't know how they're going to lay down until I actually put them down. So just add some of this in here. And then we're going to come back with this one and kind of, they don't seem to blend as nicely as a Prisma does, where if you press hard enough or you burnish, you can get rid of some of those edges. But it does look interesting, and that's really the only effect that I'm usually going for. I consider myself a hobbyist, not a colorist. I just need this to be an enjoyable way for me to de-stress and spend my time. So the outcome is less important to me than the actual process. So, and these definitely, I don't know if they'd have what you would consider a wax bloom, but there definitely is a point, and it's quite quickly, I have found, that you get to where you can't add more color. And so if you're someone who likes layering, I don't know how well these pencils would work. My girl Poet, these are her ride and die pencils. And so I don't know because most of the work that I've seen her do on YouTube by way of like tutorial type have been alcohol markers, which I have found invaluable. But I don't know with her pencil work if she likes to do lots of light layers, if she does just burnishing with just a few layers. And so, yeah, I don't know how she uses the pencils, but from the way that I use pencils, I would do something like that. That's done. If I wanted to do more, I would add just glitter gel pen on top of it. Okay, so let's go into our butterfly. You guys know I hate birds and bugs. So this is going to be very simple. Just put some color down. And I don't know why I hate birds and bugs, especially since most of the books that I like to color in are very whimsical, fantasy, fairy tale-esque, and those things run amok in those kind of coloring books. But whatevers. Okay, so You guys know, and my lighting is not conducive to coloring on camera because it just throws up insane amounts of shadowing. But I'm hoping you can see. These are quite vibrant, and that's why they make me think of luminance. Again, please do not think these are a luminance dupe by way of light fast or colors or whatever. But some of the pigments really pull that kind of feel for me. Okay, that's done because we're actually going to do a little bit more to that. And this could be a water drop or some sort of jewel, I suppose. So let's do a light layer, and then we'll give it a little bit of shape. By putting a darker on one side. And this is my go-to. Whether it actually looks realistic, I don't care. It looks more interesting than it did 2 seconds ago. And yeah, I wouldn't call this a tutorial. And certainly don't try to learn things from me, because again, I don't care about the final outcome as much as does it look nice. So the light source and all that, yeah, not real great at figuring that out. And so I usually just put the darkest on the left hand side of whatever the object is. And that's just how my brain seems to work. Okay, and I think we'll come in with this color here. And I do like adding yellows to pinks or oranges to purples because it makes it seem like it's lit. Although we are going to be doing a few more things, like I mentioned. Okay, and let's come back in here and try to add more color. Again, I can already feel that it's at that waxy point where it just doesn't want to add more color. But I am pressing fairly hard. You would normally want to do that swiping thing with a brush, but mine is tucked away, so we're just gonna swoop it with our hands. And the reason why you don't want to do that is if there's pencil shavings on the paper, it can actually swipe along your paper. Okay, so what we're going to do for the butterfly, and what I generally do for butterflies or fairy wings or something where I want it to look sheer but I don't want to put the effort in to do it, is we're going to add some Wink Stella to the wings only. And in my mind, that gives the effect of sheerness without having to do all the work. Because I've seen people who don't use any kind of glitter medium make it just look like a translucent, beautiful wings, but I have neither the time nor the inclination for that. We're going to put a little on here, but not on that little part right there. We'll see if maybe we can add a little spot of white gel pen. I've got my Uniball white. I should have let the other part dry, but that does well enough. And then I will come in with a gel pen. I've got my Pentel dual hybrids up on my desk, And so let's just put some glitter here. And that's because it's so small, I don't want to have to deal with pencil in that. And let's actually put some on her body. Pink. Ooh, hoo, hoo, she's pretty. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, again, don't do what I do, but I should have let that dry with the wink before I put the uniball. I should have let this dry before I put this, but it seems to be working out. So I just want to do a little demonstration on the pencils. I do like them, but they're not going to be pencils that I gravitate towards for everything, but certainly for Joanna Basford, they are actually up there with my Brut Funners. And depending on how easy whichever one of them are to grab, that's the one I'd be using, but I'd be happy with either of them. With my Brut Funners, I seem to be able to blend the colors a little more, but the pencil, the sharpened point of it does seem to go away faster. Not as fast as a Prisma, but definitely faster. These definitely hold their point longer, and I don't have to worry that if I do want to burnish to get it more of a shiny feel, that I'm going to break these leads. So I would highly recommend them. Poet, thank you so much for sending those to me. They were unexpected and they were just exactly what I needed for that day as a pick-me-up. And then having tested them in some of my books, I know that there are just books that I love to work in them, and they actually make me want to work in the books more. Oh, I did promise you I would show you something I've been working on. So this is one of them. I did recently get this, A Million Magical Creatures by Lulu Mayo. I did the base in just water-based markers, my Tombos, and then her hair and her dress are done with Flowoods on top, and they work fine on this paper. Not my favorite, but they do work fine, and there's such a variety of colors that I can get the finishes that I want. So there's that. And then this is my Worlds of Wonder. I am doing this page here as a buddy color with my girl Spicy Cat. So I've done I've done Inktense as a base for some of it, but then a lot of the tint is actually done with the Flowoods, and I really love how they work on this paper. All of this was done with the Flowoods. This is a combination of Inktense and Flowoods. I'm not done with either one of these, but I did really enjoy how they work on this paper, and they work really well with an Inktense base that I've washed out and then added some just additional coloring with the pencils. And so for this paper, and I didn't notice anything different with the UK published paper, I think they work really well on Joanna Basford paper. And I can't say that about all the pencils that I have. I know that I don't like my polychromos in here. So finding a pencil that works the way that I need it to so that it doesn't fatigue my hand so quickly has just been wonderful. All right, guys, well, that's it for me for now. And as always, aloha.